Hey guys, Mark here from Mark's Scale Trains again with another video. I just wanted to do a video here to answer some of the questions that I got from yesterday's video, which overwhelmed by some of the great questions, comments, and even some of the direct messages that I received. I was really happy, pretty excited to see that response. And I figured it'd be easier for me to answer some of these questions on a video in case anybody else had those questions too. We could cover some of those questions. So thanks again for all the comments. Thanks again for reaching out. It's been great. And like I mentioned yesterday, we got a great community on YouTube with the O-scale model railroaders, and pretty excited about that. But I'm going to get under the bench and address some bench questions first. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the roadbed I chose to use for this layout, which is new to me. And then the screws that I'm using to hold down the track. I'll show you guys what I'm using for that. And then even that little saw cutter over there that I got. Somebody had asked me a question. I think they had commented, asked me about that. I'll show you what I'm using there. I still use a Dremel tool quite a bit, but that little saw there is great to cut the lengths when you're cutting all three rails at the same time. That actually has worked out really pretty well. So I'll talk about those things. I'll try to keep the video short so that I don't bore anybody, but we'll get started here right now. Okay, so here we are under the layout, just showing you how I constructed this. I do have a carpentry degree from about 42 years ago or so, but this is really just basic carpentry. This is nothing complex. I mean, nothing over-engineered. Again, I didn't want to make unnecessary costs associated with the bench work when I really didn't have to. But as you can see, this is just 2x4 construction and simple Torx head screws that I use to join everything together. And again, really pretty basic, pretty simple stuff. So the bench again is 7 feet wide, 7 foot wide, and 8 foot long section. So I built this kind of modular, 7 foot wide, 8 foot long, 2 pieces of OSB on each modular section. And then I just kind of went along and screwed them all together. Excuse the mess that's under here. Obviously you guys can understand because you probably have gone through this or are going through it yourself. When you're building, it's always a mess. The legs I have here, I do have, let me try to get up here a little closer. I do have them kind of notched out, as you can see, supporting the frame. And those are just doubled up 2x4. So basically it's like a 4x4 leg. And I've got them spaced out roughly 60 inches, I think it is. I did add these cross braces, which really helps with that stabilization from moving back and forth. The layout is really a free floating layout. It's not really attached to the walls anywhere. So it'll be real easy for whoever has the responsibility of taking this layout down. It's going to be simple to unscrew everything and repurpose the wood, burn the wood, throw it out, whatever they decide to do at that time. So here's the little cut-off saw that I'm using to cut some of the sections of track. When I want to cut a straight line across all 3 sections of the rail or the track section, this makes it real easy. This is a Harbor Freight piece of equipment. It's a Drill Master 6-inch cut-off saw, and I think it was maybe only $39 or something like that at Harbor Freight, but it actually works really well. I did use a Dremel tool for years, and I still use that for a lot of stuff, but this makes it real easy to cut the lengths to what I need, and I've used it a whole bunch already. But simple, cheap, does the job, and you're not overspending on a piece of equipment that you're only going to use here and there. So Harbor Freight, they've got them there. If you think you'll use it, I definitely suggest it. Okay, on to the roadbed. Now, normally, all my life, I've used Midwest cork roadbed for whether I was doing HO layouts or I was doing my O-scale layout on my layout that I still have at the other location. I used the Midwest cork roadbed. I found this online on eBay, and I've been extremely pleased with it. This is just, it's a foam base, very flexible, foam roadbed, very flexible. It's great sound deadening properties. Very impressed with how quiet it is when the trains are running on it. And I bought this off of eBay. I'll walk you over to my computer and I'll tell you who I bought it from. But good stuff. I'm really pleased with that. So I'm gonna walk you over there. And over here is that's the Midwest roadbed that I've used for just years and years, and it's good stuff. It really is good stuff. Maybe a little too dense, and not sure how great the sound deadening is on this, but it's been a staple on my layouts, and it was kind of a little hard for me to change, but I'm very happy with the stuff that I've used here. And let's walk into the room here. Let's see. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this or not, but the seller, when I bought this, I don't even know when I bought this, but the seller is Sparks00033. That's his eBay username if you're interested in this roadbed. And it is 1/4 inch by 2 3/4 on the top. Flip it over, it's 3 1/4 inches on the bottom. But real happy with this stuff. It came in 30 pieces, 180 total feet, and it's O-scale gray sound foam track roadbed. I think he offers a free sample. I think that's actually what I did first, was I got the free sample. 100% positive feedback. The guy was real responsive, and he shipped it out really pretty quick. Shipping always kills me with items on eBay, but you kind of got to understand that. So it cost me $28 to have that 180 feet shipped, but I'm not complaining. So the roadbed, I don't even glue the roadbed down. I actually just put it underneath the track, and I screw it down. I don't use a lot of screws. I'm not going to use a lot of screws. I'm going to ballast this track. That's going to hold it in place probably better than any screws, but I do use some screws here and there just to lay down the track, get it stable on the board, and then that's it. And I'll show you here in a second what I'm using for screws. So for the current track plan, I will walk you around starting at what I have currently, obviously subject to change, but these are the two main lines that I have pretty much in place the way it's going to be, with some changes here or there. Over here by the egress window, the west side, I'll just start with this corner and just kind of show you what I have here. The spacing center rail is about, in the curves, I'm probably close to about 5 inches, because if I do run an articulated engine, I like them not to knock each other off the track. So probably the center rails, I think I ended up at around 5 inches around the curves. Most of my curves in the corners are 106 on the outside and 96 degree on the inside. I don't think I deviated from that. The third line, when I add it, probably will be nothing less than either 80 or maybe 72. I think 72 is what I have currently, but I'll show you. So just kind of walking down this way, we've got the overpass here. Once it straightens out, I'm about 4.5 inches center rail to center rail is where I left it. You can kind of see here is where that third line is going to start. Not exactly sure if it's going to stay there. More than likely, it probably will. But just moving along the south wall here, there's the double crossover, the Ross switch sitting there. Obviously, I'll be able to cross over in from the two main lines, and then just a little ways down here, I've got a couple more left-hand Ross turnouts, bringing engines over to the third line. And then walking down here to the east wall, we've got the corners here again, 106 on the outside, 96 on the inside. And then the third line, my current plans are to, once it kind of crosses over here, third line is gonna sweep a little tighter. These are 72s, and I think I might have, I don't know, I might have I'm not sure. I have maybe I don't think it's an 80. It might be, I don't even know. I have to think. But there's a longer section in here just to make this turn where I needed it. And it's going to go into, it'll end up going into a yard switch, but it'll also have its own leg for to continue for the main line, the third line. I haven't really decided exactly what I'm doing, but I know I'm going to have a Ross switch here, and it's going to kind of be like a pull-through yard. So I'm going to have a Ross switch starting here and then a Ross switch on the opposite end. And then it'll lead back into that, that main line, the third line there that I'm going to have. Over in this section, probably do an engine house is my plan with a Ross four-way switch. So I have two lines going into the engine house and then one on each side. Current plans again. You can see over here I've got that little spur. You can see it, the little spur going there. And there's a left-hand switch coming off the main line. So we're moving down the north side here. There will be a switch somewhere on that to bring the from the third line back into that second line, and then I can use that crossover you saw to get back onto the outer main line. And then we're back here toward the west side. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the way it's going to lay out. But changes, yeah, lots of changes, lots of things that I'm sure will happen. But at least the two main lines at this point, I've pretty much got set where I want them. Eventually, I'll use tortoise switches under the table, tortoise switches for the turnouts. But yeah, so at this point, that's currently where I'm at. Okay, so here's how I am securing the track down to the wood base. Let me try to get over here, show you what I'm doing. Hopefully you guys can see this. Can you see that screw right there? Let me zoom in on it. So that is what I am using to secure the track down to the base. And I use that as sparingly as possible and only where I really need to do that. So I'll show you what these screws are in a second, but first I drill a pilot hole down to where I just touch a little bit past the OSB, and then I will, I have a countersink bit. I'll show you what I'm using there to countersink this screw, and I'll show you what screws I'm using for this. Let me back out here. Let me come over here. So these are the screws that I'm using. You see those right there? That's what it looks like. They are, what does it say here? I got these at the big box store. So this is 6 by inch and 5/8. And I don't think there's a part number on it or anything, is there? I don't know, but that's basically what it is. Grip right fasteners. I think I got it from Home Depot, but the countersink bit is this one right here. So there we go. So I just use that, and then like I said, I use those pretty sparingly around the layout, only where I really need to use it. But those are the screws that I use. I kind of like this look. It looks a little more industrial, I guess, you know, instead of using a regular screw head with a Phillips or something like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with using that. I just chose to use these. I like the way that they look, and they hide pretty good. So I think that was the majority of the questions that I got. I'll get you another better look at this control station I'm constructing. It's a mess right now, but you kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here. I've got the one TIU up there right now. Got a couple 990s down there. Actually, one of them is only is a 993. That's the 990, waiting for the base 3. Powering it right now with this Z4000. I have another Z4000, and then I'll probably end up using, maybe buying some Lionel 180 watt transformers, 10 amp type stuff, for maybe the third line that I'm gonna put in here, and then maybe another one for the yard area. I mean, I'll figure it out as I go along, but this is just in the early stages. That's kind of the idea of what I'm gonna do with the TIUs. On the opposite side, I'll have the terminal strips, and if I use an AIU or something like that, it'll go on the back side there. I think that maybe covers the majority of the questions that I got. If not, I'll do another video or something. Try to keep them short. But again, thank you for all the responses. Thank you for the comments, direct messages. It's great to see. And I will hopefully see you guys here in another video pretty soon. Thanks.